podcastprofessor.com.
Hello, I'm Podcast Professor Jamie J from podcastprofessors.com, and welcome to our free podcasting video series where we answer some of the most frequently asked questions about podcasting. One of the most frequently asked questions we get is how to come up with a good name for your podcast. I've broken this particular question down into 3 steps to help you come up with a great name that not only incorporates your message in a short, concise manner, but your target audience will know what your podcast is all about from the name you've chosen. Before I go into these 3 steps, did you know that just last summer, Apple announced it had logged its 1 billionth with a B podcast subscription? And what in the world does this 1 billionth fact have to do with naming your podcast? While this seems like a large number, and it is, podcasting is going to continue to grow, and that means competition is only going to increase. Step 1 is you have to pick a name that not only describes your show, but it must resonate with your listeners. Keep it simple. Keep it simple by crafting a name that explains your topic. Once you come up with a name, the best way to see if that name works is to ask your friends, family, and/or colleagues. Ask them what they think your podcast is about. If they don't know or have a hard time figuring it out, my suggestion is to go back to the drawing board and think of a name that's easier for them to identify. You can also ask them for suggestions. Step 2 is to make sure that the name you come up with is memorable and speaks to your audience. Especially when you're first starting out, many people won't know your show, and so they'll most likely discover your show via iTunes or a Google search. It's a good idea to include keywords that someone might search for regarding the topic of your show. And finally, step 3 is making sure that once you identify your name, go check to see if your domain is available. It's important to register it right away, and it wouldn't hurt to get the .com, .info, or .net extensions either. If you enjoyed this video, visit podcastprofessors.com and get instant access to over 20 videos answering the most frequently asked questions about podcasting. Get started on your podcasting journey right now and begin living the lifestyle you've always wanted. Thanks again for watching. I'm Podcast Professor Jamie with podcastprofessors.com, and I'll see you next time. But until then, podcast yourself.
Congratulations! You've made it through another video. But don't fly away just yet. Head over and follow your podcast professors on your Twitter feed. We want you to earn your wings, you know. Find your future. Podcast yourself.
Podcastprofessors.com.